Mad TV won't be seen tonight, but will return next week at its regular time. Now stay tuned for a Fox Sports special presentation.
Miami, Florida. Miles of sun-streaked beaches mark this year-round tropical playground. A culturally diverse community, modern-day Miami is home to the fast-paced, beautiful set. But Miami possesses some boxing history all its own. Not too long ago, this vacation hotspot was home to the quintessential prize fighter's haven, the legendary 5th Street Gym. That gym is no longer standing, but many of boxing's greatest grace the streets of Miami, along with one other man. His name, Cassius Clay. Later becoming Muhammad Ali, Miami was his personal training ground. As for action inside the ring, Miami was also the site of what many consider one of the greatest bouts ever, the classic championship battle between Alexis Arguello and Aaron Pryor. Miami is now home to a different stock of fighters, but the tradition continues. As tonight, Fox Sports is proud to bring you another edition in our Saturday Night Fight Series, live from Miami, Florida. Miami, Florida, located at the southeastern tip of the U.S., Miami's numerous waterways and lush tropical landscapes combine to form one of the more picturesque cities in the world. And with warm tropical breezes, Miami's nightlife is a year-round festival. Add to that a strong Latin influence, and Miami exudes a unique charm, rich in culture and aglow with a passion for life. And with an active and growing fan base, the city of Miami is proud to claim as its own the NBA's Miami Heat, and competing in the NHL, the Florida Panthers. In a setting more closely associated with surfing or even a tanning competition, the Heat and the Panthers entertain the home crowd in this facility, the Miami Arena. But tonight, it's not the frozen pond or hardwood occupying the arena, it's Bash Boulevard, as Miller Lite is proud to present the third installment of Fox Sports Saturday Night Fights, live from Miami, Florida. And hello everyone, and welcome to the Miami Arena. I'm James Brown. Well, we've got what appears to be a competitive card scheduled for you this evening, featuring a WBA Cruiserweight title fight as Nate Miller defends his belt for the second time, tonight facing challenger Brian Laspada. And in our main event, the former WBC heavyweight champion Oliver McCall continues on the road back to what he hopes will result in a championship opportunity. Tonight, he'll face a very confident youngster by the name of James Stanton. Right now, Fox's Eric Clemens is standing by with the former champion. Eric?
All right, JB, thank you very much. And the former champ looks about ready to go right now. Oliver, a week ago tonight, you saw the belt you used to hold change hands. Frank Bruno not looking too good against Mike Tyson and losing that belt. And you know that could have been, or maybe even you feel it should have been you. How have you coped with that disappointment up to now?
Well, I coped with it very well. You'll see tonight. I'm ready to go. You'll see.
All right. Now, how about what you have to do now? You're going to have to wait a little while to get another shot at the title belts. You want the shot at Tyson. How are you coping with that?
Well, like I tell him, I'm willing to fight Tyson for nothing.
Mm-hmm. All right. I told you, he was ready to go. Let's go back upstairs to James Brown. JB?
All right, Eric, and we can only assume that he is ready to go because Oliver McCall is usually quite loquacious. He's focused for tonight's match. All right, as mentioned earlier, our first fight will showcase the WBA Cruiserweight champion, Nate Mr. Miller. With 23 KOs and his 27 victories, Miller unquestionably has knockout power.
Introducing the WBA Cruiserweight Champion of the World, Nate Mr. Miller.
And as you take a look at Nate Miller, the book on him, not flashy, but he is tough and talented. Good boxing skills, but is most effective fighting toe-to-toe and loves to work the body. And the guys who will have the ringside view of the Body Works will be calling the action tonight. Let's join now Barry Tompkins and the irrepressible Bobby Ches.
All right, thanks very much, JB. Well, the cruiserweight division, an interesting division, historically has been just something of a way stop for fighters on their way up from the 175-pound limit of the light heavyweight division into the richer coffers of the heavyweight division. But right now, when you look at the champions in the cruiserweight division, they are guys who seem pretty content to fight as champions in a lesser weight division, if you will. The IBF champion, Alfred Cole, the man we're going to be watching in just a moment, the WBA title holder, Nate Miller, and the WBC title holder, Anaclet Wamba. Not too many people here in the States know much about him. He's been fighting predominantly in Europe, but he has held this title 4.5 years. That is longer than any other title holder at any weight division. Bobby, you've gone through this same route. Started as light heavyweight champion. You were the cruiserweight champion. Now you're going for the heavyweight title. Let's talk a little bit about Nate Miller. He is a guy who seems to be content right where he is.
Well, you know, he's content where he is. He's a little big man. Cruiserweight division is kind of a junior heavyweight division. They're all subdivisions. The old straight weights of the old days are gone. There are subdivisions everywhere. This is this little big man, the small heavyweights. Today, they grow him too big, Barry. They got to have a breaker.
If there's a rap on Nate Miller, it's that he gets a little bit lazy, especially toward the middle rounds, and he doesn't do very well with boxers, and what he's got tonight is a boxer.
He's got a pure boxer. Brian Laspada is going to move, use the jab, and try and lull Nate Miller to sleep. And that's what happens to him sometimes. He gets lulled to sleep, and he loses a decision.
One of the raps on Nate Miller, he's an underachiever. He says, no, I'm a businessman. He said, I've seen too many Philadelphia fighters get beat up in the gym. I'm not going to do that.
Well, you know what? You got to praise that for his work ethic, not overworking in the gym, but you got to work fight time, and this is fight time. He may be an underachiever here, and that he can't stand.
And he looks to be all business, as you can see. So Miller versus Laspada, this for the WBA Cruiserweight Championship. It's all coming up on the other side of this.
Fox Saturday Night Fights are brought to you by Miller Lite. When you've got the great taste of an ice cold Miller Lite, life is good.
City of Miami, as we welcome the Blockbuster Video Blimp and its crew to tonight's telecast. Piloting the Blockbuster Blimp tonight, Captain Terry Dillard from just across the state in Orlando, Florida. So we come to our first fight of the evening. This is the battle for the WBA Cruiserweight Championship. Nate Miller and Brian Laspada. Nate Miller, of course, is the title holder. Laspada looking to take a big step up and do what he can about beating a guy who he feels is eminently beatable. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape. Miller at 32 years old, and Laspada, of course, 9 years younger than Miller. Miller listed at 6'2", and I'll tell you what, if he's 6'2", then I can dunk a basketball. Laspada at 6'3", and I believe that he is 6'3". Miller does have a little bit of a reach advantage and a slight weight advantage, and that is the story of the tail of the tape in this fight. Let's take a look at the WBA rules. There will not be a standing 8 count. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. Only the referee can stop the fight, and a fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round with the exception of the last round. And with that, let's get up to the center of the ring now and meet the participants with the ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr. Jimmy?
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and we welcome you to the Miami Arena here in beautiful Miami, Florida, as we have a big night of action coming your way, and it's all brought to you by Don King Productions and Miller Lite. At this time, we present one of our World Championship featured attractions. It is sanctioned by the World Boxing Association, President Gilberto Mendoza, Supervisor Jorge Clee, along with the Florida State Athletic Commission. The chairman is Alvin Goodman, Executive Director Don Hazelton. Introducing to you the judges for this bout: Jorge Constantino, Jay Cassis, and Ernesto Magana. Introducing our referee in charge of this bout, we have Bill Connors. All right, fans, here we go with the WBA Cruiserweight Championship of the World, scheduled for 12 rounds of boxing. Introducing to you first the challenger on my left, fighting out of the blue corner. He is wearing light blue trunks, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, by way of Buffalo, New York. He weighed in at 187 pounds with a record of 26 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw. He has 12 wins, coming by way of knockout. Tonight, making his first attempt at a world title, introducing the WBA number 5 ranked cruiserweight contender, here is Brian Lightning Laspada. And his opponent across the ring on my right, he's fighting out of the red corner and is the defending world champion. He is wearing dark blue trunks with gold trim and hailing from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He weighed in at 188 1/4 pounds with a record of 27 wins and 4 losses. He has 23 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, he is making the second defense of his title. Here is the defending WBA Cruiserweight Champion of the World, Nate Mr. Miller. Once again, a referee in charge now to give instructions, Bill Connors.
All right, we all know the instructions in the dressing room now. I want you to obey my commands at all times in here. Both you guys have got your trunks real high here, okay? So anything on the borderline, I'll make the decisions. I don't want to hear anything from the corners. Is that understood? Okay, does anybody have any questions over here? Any questions over here? All right, keep it clean. Touch gloves. Good luck to both of you.
So we're set to go in our first fight of the evening, and Brian Laspada feels that the first few rounds are going to be very important. Nate Miller says he's a runner, and if he runs, I'm going to get mad.
Well, I'll tell you what, Brian Laspada is a runner. That's what he does. He tries to get his opponents frustrated, confused, uses his jab. You can already see his feet are almost in a running position.
Of course, Laspada doesn't look at it that way. He says jab, move, give him angles.
Let's not forget, to be hit. Muhammad Ali won his world titles that way. Hit, not get hit. Jab, move, stick and move. Only this is not Ali caliber fighting. It just isn't.
And it'll be Miller's job, of course, to cut the ring. Good body puncher. Very important for Laspada, according to his people, not to get into a brawl with Miller. They don't argue that Miller's the stronger of the two.
So even though he's a boxer and he's a mover and he's not a big puncher, he has to make his punches sting. He has to make them count. They have to be accurate if he's going to get his pound of flesh. Or Nate will walk right through him.
He's not a big puncher, but he's not a bad finisher. The way he's won, when he's won by knockouts, he's just worn people out. A quick right hand from Miller, and down goes Laspada. Exactly the kind of start that he absolutely did not want.
Brian Laspada said he was going to be maybe a little too nervous, a little too jumpy, a little too jittery. You can never tell how the pressure will affect a young guy stepping up. Right now, he's not stepping up well.
Looked like a flash knockdown, and it did not appear that he was really hurt. Although I have to say, his legs do not look real sturdy right at the moment.
They didn't look real sturdy when they came in. They were in a retreat mode from the start, and this is not a fight that, you know, it's not a fight that's going to be real colorful and real pretty. It's going to be ugly.
And he just cannot afford to get into a brawl with Nate Miller.
No, now what he has to do is hold on when Nate gets close and get on his bicycle when Nate's far away. Keep him at range, use the jab, move, get himself okay. I don't know if his head's clear. I'm not sure what kind of punch he takes, but that wasn't a real big right hand.
Does show the semblance of a pretty good jab. And one thing that he did tell us yesterday when we spoke to him was that he had to get Nate Miller's respect early, and he certainly has not done that.
No, you see, when he jabs, it's not a jab that's meant to get anybody's attention. It's just a jab that's meant to keep you off. And it's not going to work. That's not going to get anybody's respect or even get their attention.
Nice body shot and a good right hand. Again, backs Laspada up, although Laspada will back up willingly.
You know, Nature's used his jab too. He doesn't need to just counterpunch with the big shots. He's clearly the stronger. Step in behind his jab, dig a couple body shots, and come up, see what happens.
Well, Laspada's legs buckled again from not such a great right hand. That's a slip. I'll tell you, Laspada still looks a little rubber leg to me.
There was a reasonable attempt at a right hand, but still nothing clean from Laspada.
Well, it appears he is going to get through the first round. And we're going to take you into the corner of Brian Laspada. See what kind of sage advice he gets from Roger Mayweather, his trainer.
Stay close to him. You're doing good. Put some water on his head. Give me a towel. Give me a towel. Look how far I'm going on the floor. What a bucket. Spit.
We'll take a look at that knockdown. Again, this is a nice clean right hand, but it's not a real big right hand. You know, his feet weren't planted. It wasn't a big powerhouse shot. You look at it again, it's not simply a grazing shot, but not a big shot. Laspada's leaning backwards and just kind of goes with the punch to the floor. His eyes don't look dazed, they're glazed over. Here you'll see it one more time, slow motion. He just steps in with it. Nice clean right hand, but not a big shot. That's a punch that shouldn't put a man fighting for the light heavyweight world title, cruiserweight world title down.
Nate Miller had that look of disbelief on his face, actually, that Laspada went down from that punch. We start the second round. Laspada's going to have to get back to a game plan here. Miller's done a good job of cutting a ring on him.
I think Nate's even giving him a little too much respect there. Watching his punches, looking to block them. This is the kind of guy that, at least with my style, I would just walk right to and beat on and make it a war of attrition, in which case Laspada can't win.
Well, and Miller has done that. His last fight against Ronaldo Jimenez, he did walk right through him and he beat him up to the body.
You know, Spada's boasted about sparring with guys like Tommy Morrison and this one and that one, but you know what? With a headgear and 18-ounce gloves, it's a whole different ball game. Inexplicably different if you haven't done it.
And he was talking about the fact that none of those people hit him with a jab. That might be said of Miller too, but he hit him with the right hand, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Breaking there,
You can see there a nice offensive attempt by Laspada, but again, it's a slapping punch. It's not one that's going to hurt, and it's just to me, it seems to be a futile effort to keep Nate Miller off him. He's not serious. He's not sitting on his punches. Even when he jabs, it's just kind of a slap.
Good left hook by Miller, and that hurt Laspada. And it does not appear that it's going to take a whole lot to get Laspada out of there.
You know, we don't know how durable he is. He's been down, which means he hasn't got the greatest of chins, but maybe he gets up and runs back. Threw a nice right hand there. His speed can generate a little bit of power for him because, after all, it's the speed of a bullet that kills you, not its size. But here, he's just walking the big stuff there. Terrific right up.
Good right hand, buckled him again. Miller not wasting much effort, but that's his style.
No, he's economical with his punches. He'll sit on you, he'll wait, he'll take his time. Here he's watching, he's looking for the counters because he's been effective with them so far. Why stop?
Well, we said earlier, it's a nice counter right hand by Miller, that he's had trouble with boxers historically. Al Cole beat him twice. Awkward kind of boxer, not unlike Laspada.
Al Cole's a much better talent than Laspada.
Oh, without question.
And Al's deceiving. He doesn't just box. Al fights. He's more of a fighter for a 6'4", and his tremendous reach frame that he has. He's much more of a fighter than just a boxer. That's what Laspada needs to do with the jab. Make it sting. Make it work. Throw 2 or 3.
Coming to the end of the second round. Another good round for Miller. Round number 3, and Miller has had Laspada down in the first round and in trouble a couple of times in the second round. He has not gone after him when he's been in trouble.
You can see there in his eyes, you can see Laspada's intent to just hold and get out of harm's way. Not to fight, not even to box, just to get out of harm's way.
Laspada's people told us yesterday that they got to make Miller gamble, and if he does, then they felt that their man had a chance. Miller has not had to gamble in this fight at all. He's done pretty much what he's wanted.
You know, but even here, if he gambles, he's not being made to pay. When he does leap in with a shot, he's not being made to pay. The man can gamble and get away with it. He'll do it all night long.
You're hanging on now, okay? Let's quit holding.
A warning for holding from referee Bill Connors.
Whoa! We're clean. Told you about that back of the head stuff. You understand?
This is the kind of fight that gets frustrating for a man who's come to fight, such as Nate Miller. The guy wants to run, wants to hold, wants to tie up as soon as you get anywhere near punching range. Very frustrating.
A grazing right hand and then a left hand, and once again, Laspada holds. The puffiness underneath the left eye of Brian Laspada.
Right now, Brian Laspada is fighting a little bit of the same type of fight that Frank Bruno fought against Mike Tyson.
I know you really liked that fight a lot, didn't you?
Well, you know, my contention is that a fighter's got to get in harm's way to do any harm, and in boxing, certainly that's part of the game. If he wants to outpoint Nate Miller, he's got to hit him. He has to offer up some offense. As his mouthpiece goes flying out, it can't just be a defensive fight or a hold on and survive fight. To go 10 rounds and do nothing and offer up nothing is not to have done anything.
And now we'll get a timeout to put the mouthpiece back in.
Let's go.
They'll wash it off.
All right, let's go.
Good strong jab from Nate Miller.
You know, right toward the end of the second round, Laspada started to stick 2 or 3 good solid jabs, and I don't know why he didn't come back to it. There's some offense. There's a jab, a counter right hand. He tried to hook on top of it. That's what he needs to do, but he can't wait until the end of the round for one combination and expect to win or do any damage.
His idea was to wear Nate Miller out, but it's really been the opposite that's happened so far.
Well, right now, all he's going to do is bruise Nate Miller's hands with his head and his face. And that's not wearing the man out.
Good left hand, and once again, Laspada holds on. So Nate Miller just doing what Nate Miller does, that is being economical and winning all the rounds.
Here you see Laspada losing his mouthpiece. He gets good stuck with a good jab, and the mouthpiece just comes right out.
Round number 4 now. Miller has easily won the first 3, won the first 10-8. Could not see that round any other way, had Laspada down.
You know, Laspada has what appears to be an under and over mouthpiece, which I hate. They're harder to hold in. You open your mouth to breathe, which all athletes have to do, especially in boxing, when your nose is getting hit and clogged. That's difficult to do. His mouth is already hanging open. Just a good stiff jab knocked it out. Imagine a clean right hand. The left hook comes whistling in. That mouthpiece is going to wind up in 3rd row.
Well, Miller completely dictating this fight so far. Now, as you said earlier, he has a tendency in the past to get a little bit lazy in the middle rounds, which he is now approaching. Has shown no indication of that tonight, however, at least to this point.
Laspada's punches appear to have absolutely 0 power and 0 sting on them. I don't know why Nate just doesn't walk right to him and start a barroom fight, because that's what you got to do with this kind of guy. He's going to run and hold, tear him apart, make a street fight out of him.
Well, that's pretty much what he said. We asked him what he would do if Laspada ran. He said it would just make him madder, and he'd be more inclined to just go after it. But as we said earlier, Nate Miller is really all business. I mean, this is a profession to him. He keeps a full-time job. He works for the Philadelphia Housing Authority.
Nate Miller is one of those fighters that has a great poker face too. Whether you hit him hard or you hit him soft, same face. He's throwing or receiving, same face. When he's hurt, same face. I've seen him fight Alcohol a couple times and a lot of other fighters, including Orton Norris. He has a great poker face.
Right now he's following Laspada around instead of cutting the ring too. He was cutting the ring better earlier in the fight. Left hand by Laspada was caught in the gloves of Miller.
Years ago when I was Cruiserweight champion, I was on the phone with Laspada's people and they were talking, we want to fight with you. I said, you know what? Unfortunately, He hasn't accomplished enough. No one wants to pay to see it. I don't mind fighting the guy. Now I can see why. I've never seen him fight the kind of fight that's annoying to take, and it doesn't seem hard to win right now, but it sure is boring.
Well, he moved to Las Vegas from Buffalo to visit his mom, actually. Was hanging around the gym. Roger Mayweather saw him, and Roger looked at him and said, this guy doesn't know how to throw punches, and he literally had to teach him, and that was after he'd already had 4 professional fights. He was 2-1-1 when he came to the gym and started working with Roger. He's 22-1 since then, but needless to say, the caliber of opponent is not what Nate Miller has fought.
Correct, and let's face it, Roger Mayweather had a great amount of talent. He can't give the talent, he can only teach.
All right, whoa. Breaking. Get this water.
We start the 5th round. Brian Laspada, the challenger in the blue trunks. Nate Miller in the purple trunks with a gold stripe.
Fight's taking up the same posture it has for the first 4 rounds. Laspada running backwards. Nate Miller coming forward. Really hasn't changed much. I think Nate should pick up the pace a little, make Laspada fight him back. See what happens.
That's exactly what they were saying in Miller's corner between rounds, too. Don't just throw one punch, get in there and throw combinations.
See the type of thing here. Laspada, a nice right hand by Laspada. Not a big right hand, but he can't punch, so for him, a good right hand. The thing about this is, Nate Miller can do what he wants when he wants. When he wants a rest, Brian Laspada's not going to pressure him or push him. So go and take your shots. Take your big punches, throw your big flurries, and rest when you want to.
Nate Miller, very likable guy, and as you said, just kind of all business, very soft-spoken. Not really out of the mold of a lot of Philadelphia fighters. In fact, we mentioned it earlier, but he said, I've just seen too many Philadelphia fighters burn themselves out in the gym. He said, I'm just not going to do that.
You know, there is such thing as overwork, and overwork will kill you worse than underwork, and he's right. A lot of Philly fighters lost years off their career, and I'll tell you what, some of them look like they might have lost years off their life, how hard they worked in Philly.
Let that arm loose. Let's go.
Wasn't any kind of a fighter. Really wasn't a great athlete by his own admission. Walked by the gym when he was 15 years old, went in, and basically has never come out.
See, with a fight of this nature, what Nate Miller has to do is just go to it, work hard, give him 3 minutes of 1 round, see if he can't do what it takes, set the foundation to get Brian Laspada earlier, because his value's not going to go up, especially in the cruiserweight division, as we were talking before. It's not going to go up with a fight or a performance like this, even though he's clearly winning every round.
And Laspada's starting to get beat up, too. He's got a welt under his right eye, a little bit of swelling under his left eye, which has been there since early in the fight. Now there's blood on the neck. I'm not quite sure where it's coming from. We'll try to see here.
Nate Miller's left eye has a cut over it. Either that quick right hand or maybe heads clashed, but Nate Miller's left eye is bleeding. I'm not sure what punch.
That is exactly where it's from. It doesn't appear to be a serious cut. But Nate Miller had his eye cut in the first Al Cole fight, and it bothered him psychologically, if not physically.
That seems to have spurred on Laspada. Oh, nice right hand. He got Nate Miller's attention with that right hand.
So we'll see if the cut over Miller's eye doesn't light a fire under the challenger, Brian Laspada. We're coming back. Well, some serious work in the corner of Nate Miller being done between rounds on the cut over the left eye. It was caused, incidentally, the referee, Bill Connors, said by an accidental headbutt.
Well, I didn't see the headbutt. I saw a couple of decent right hands. Never saw the headbutt, but the referee's word is final.
Good left hand forced Laspada into the ropes.
That was more bad footing than it was the force of the punch.
See if the cut spurs Miller to do a little bit more offensively.
Toward the end of the round, it spurred Laspada a little bit. Started throwing 3 or 4 right hands, which is more than he'd thrown the whole previous 3 or 4 rounds.
Laspada trying to go downstairs now. Right hook and a left hand, the mouthpiece goes flying again.
I'll tell you what, that mouthpiece did a takeoff. It is somewhere outside this ring.
Whoa, break. Stop. Time.
And now we got a timeout once again while The mouthpiece will be recovered and washed and put back in the mouth of Brian Laspada. That really is a break of some fashion for Brian Laspada. It gives him a chance to catch his breath. He'd been cuffed around pretty good by Nate Miller.
I'll tell you what, I've seen mouthpieces come out as often as 10 times in a fight, and eventually a disqualification does occur.
I have too.
Oh, you're tied up. Break clean. Let's go. Step out of there.
See, I believe if Nate Miller just used that jab, stuffed the jab, use a good strong power jab up the middle, got Laspada out of rhythm. He's not worried about jab, he's just worried about the big counters. He could work off that with his right hand, his hook could go to the body. I think he could do a lot more and compromise Laspada even more than he already has.
The cut is not appreciably worse in this round. Suffered near the end of the last round over the left eye of Nate Miller. Sometimes it'll take a couple of rounds to completely stop the bleeding. They'll need 2 rounds of work on it. It's really not too bad right now. Good left hand, a right hand behind it.
Here you see Laspada trying with a couple right hands, but there's no real starch on it. There's nothing he's trying with. His feet aren't set. He's leaning. He's actually thinking backwards while he's letting his punches come forward, and those punches cannot be powerful.
Laspada just cannot stand in front of Nate Miller. He did it for a moment. He caught 2 shots. So Nate Miller continues to administer a pretty good beating to Brian Laspada as we come toward the end of round number 6. And the story is as it has been. Don't go away. We'll be back after this word from your local station. We start round number 7 now, and Nate Miller, I would have to think pitching a shutout against Brian Laspada.
You know, I can't help but wonder if he did this much holding when he was sparring with those heavyweights, because I personally would have thrown him right out of camp. You don't pay a man to spar with you and then have him hold you. Same counter right hand, Barry.
We're in round number 7, and it's been a fight that has been owned virtually from the opening bell by the champion, Nate Miller. This for his WBA Cruiserweight title. 45 seconds into the first round, Miller had a flash knockdown of Brian Laspada, and Laspada has really never gotten in gear since that point. He was hurt on a couple of occasions, both in the second and third round, and quite simply, the fight has been dominated by the champion.
Miller's corner said to stop letting him walk around, stop letting him dance. You want to be a main event fighter? Well, let's go. Step around, cut him off. Don't let him dance. You didn't want to let him dance? Don't let him do it.
Lunging right hand by Nate Miller. Miller still not cutting the ring quite as well as he did early in the fight.
All right, breaking there, breaking there. Let's go.
By the same token, he doesn't have to look for Laspada quite as much as he did Laspada in front of him a little bit more than he has been.
Well, it takes a lot of energy to keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, get on your toes, change directions. It takes a lot of energy to keep shifting gears like that. Laspada is also getting hit regularly in the arms, on the chin, in the body.
Hold it, time, break. Let's go, step back. Come on, Brian. Yeah. All right, break, please, step back.
Not much action in the 7th round. Good left hand there. That hurt Laspada. And once again, he holds on.
There's just not enough strength or zing on any of the punches Laspada throws to keep Nate Miller off. If I were Nate Miller, I'd do the same. Just walk right through him. He can't hurt me. He can't hurt me. Just go. There are no repercussions to any of his actions, and that's why Laspada can't get any respect right now.
30 seconds remaining, round 7.
Great, let's go.
still believe Nate Miller could use that jab more, though. I know he's a better jabber than he's showing today. I know he's a little frustrated. He's looking to load up. There's Laspada's looking to hold. But if he stuffs that jab, it'll be that much more difficult for Laspada to hold.
Sure, he feels that he should get Laspada out of there, and he hadn't been able to get him down since the opening 45 seconds. Well, every now and then there's a little touch of honesty in the corner of a professional prize fighter. Roger Mayweather asked Brian Laspada between rounds, "How do you feel?" And Laspada said, "I'm a little tired."
Well, if he didn't think we knew, we know.
And it's tough being tired and try to keep a man like Nate Miller off you.
You know, Vince Lombardi probably said it best. Fatigue makes cowards of us all, and there's no more lonely place than in that ring.
Still to come, of course, Oliver McCall just tap dancing until he gets his shot, which might be a ways away, and he gets a guy who really is brimming with confidence. James Stanton really believes he can beat Oliver McCall. Time will tell. That's our main event. 10 rounds in the heavyweight division still to come.
Stanton wouldn't by any chance be a runner, would he?
He could be. He says he's not.
Nice jab by Nate Miller. See if he uses that jab 2 or 3 and gets Brian's head up and then comes in, he can do what he wants to do. Instead, he's letting Brian tie him up by coming in with a big shot.
All right, you're tired. Break clean. Step out.
And that cut just opened up again over the left eye of Nate Miller. I don't believe it's anything that's going to cause a huge problem. And even if it does, they would go to the scorecards because the referee Bill Connors has already said it was caused by an accidental butt.
Let's go. Work it out.
Crowd's getting on everybody, yeah.
Work it out. Work it out.
I think Miller may be getting a little bit tired too.
Yeah, that wrestling, grappling kind of fight is tiresome. Takes a lot out of you to just wrestle with a guy that weighs 190 pounds like you do. It's a little more fatiguing than it might appear. But there are points during the course of this fight that I've seen some mambos with a little more action because they're really coming into a big lull.
This is more of a waltz.
And a slow one at that.
Good left hand once again, and once again Laspada holds on.
And a good right hook to the body. Nate threw a nice wrap-around right hand to the body. But what he needs to do right there, there it is, rip up with the uppercut. Keep it up, mix him up, head and body.
And once again, Laspada hangs on desperately. Laspada's got no legs at all right now.
That's a passive hang-on. There you see him fight back a little bit. But for the most part, it's a passive hang-on.
Took a good right hand, and Miller just stalking him now. 20 seconds remaining, round 8. Laspada has very little left.
Whoa, watch those heads in there.
But he will get through the 8th round. Don't go away. We're coming back. But is Laspada? Brian Laspada trying to find something that just, I don't believe, is there or anywhere near there. He's a very tired fighter. He doesn't have much left in the legs. And Nate Miller, I'm quite sure, will really try to jump on Laspada here.
No. Break clean, break clean.
Big mouse developing on the left eye of Laspada now.
It's a nice right hand by Laspada, but again, not a puncher. He's not going to get Nate Miller at one punch. There has to be a cumulative effect, and with only a few rounds to go, I don't know that cumulative effect can even take place now.
Laspada's legs really rubbery though. It just won't take much. There's a crashing right hand.
A great lead right hand, and a nice cut open up over the left eye of Laspada.
Yeah, in a manner of speaking, it's a nasty cut. And that is the kind of cut that could be enough to stop this fight.
Stop. Turn.
And Bill Connors is going to take a timeout here.
Right here.
And I'd be willing to bet in his heart of hearts, Laspada is kind of hoping the doctor says that's enough.
Stop it. Stop it. Okay.
That's it. Well stopped, I would have to say. There was no chance Laspada was going to win the fight. Spare the man a little punishment.
Yeah, Laspada's blood spattered out of there pretty good. The lead right hand opened it, and then a couple more punches, and it was gushing pretty freely.
Yeah, very nasty and a very deep cut. The guy had no chance to win the fight, so why not stop it?
No, his chances were beyond slim and none. Just not a puncher, not punching in combination, not really offering up much of a threat whatsoever.
So Brian Laspada gets an opportunity and quite simply just overmatched with Nate Miller. Really didn't have a chance in this fight from 45 seconds into it. A flash knockdown. He never really recovered from that. It was only a question of time for Nate Miller. Again, Nate Miller just doing what he does. He talks about his job as this is my business, and if I don't particularly look razzle-dazzle to the folks out there, that's not my problem. You know, I'm not going to get beat up. He says my job is to make money and have something to show for it. That's what it's all about. He says I'm very grateful for what I have. We mentioned earlier he works for the Philadelphia Housing Authority, keeps a full-time job. He does talk, incidentally. He has a very low-key personality, and he talks about being a comedian. So we said to him, are you going to be a stand-up comedian? He said, no, I'm going to be a lay-down comedian.
Well, I'll tell you what, stand-up's hard. Lay down might be even harder.
Take another look at just a sampling from this fight. And if you look at this in microcosm, this is what the fight was all about.
You know, that was a nice right hand, but I'll tell you what, a head hit it right after that. I wonder if it wasn't another clash of heads that caused the fight to be stopped. Either way, if you go to the scorecards, it's a shutout. Nate Miller, lead right hand, bang. Then there you see the heads clash, bang. Solid, clean right hand, solid, clean headbutt. That's an interesting one, too.
And a solid, clean end to the fight.
There you go. You'll see one more time in super slow-mo. Right hand, right head. And that's Benny Briscoe was the best at that. He hit you with a left, right, and then his head. It was a three-punch combination.
Another Philadelphia fighter.
1, 2, 3.
Happens in the gyms every day in Philadelphia. Let's make it all official now. We'll go up to the center of the ring, and the ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr. Jimmy?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 56 seconds in round number 9. A referee in charge, Bill Connor, stops the contest on advice of the ringside position. The winner by way of technical knockout and still champion, Nate Mr. Miller.
Well, once again, it might not have been pretty, but Nate Miller will take it. Thank you very much. It's another W. He retains his WBA title in the cruiserweight division. He says, no, I'm not going to heavyweight right now. I'm going to fight a few more times at cruiserweight, be the champion, put money on the table, food on the table, money in the bank. I'm looking out for my future. So Nate Miller is a winner, and we're coming back after this word from your local station. Nate Miller picks up his 28th win, his 24th by knockout. He's still the WBA champion, and right now he is in the center of the ring with Eric Clemens. Eric?
All right, Barry, thank you very much. I'm with Nate Mr. Miller, who retains his championship with a TKO in round number 9. Nate, first of all, tell me how frustrating was it to fight a guy like this who was kind of moving away from you the entire fight long, and you'd land a couple of shots, but he'd be out of there before you could finish him.
I'd like to say thank God first for giving me the strength, my family and friends, my coworkers, and so forth. It was pretty tricky. I kind of figured he was going to run, and I had to stalk him out. But you know, I got to get used to these fighters and be on my P's and Q's at all times.
You hit him with good shots really all fight long. We got some replays coming up here. First round, the knockdown rather. Describe that for us.
I had to set him up first with the jab, then come across. Well, that's mostly what I specialize in is counter punching and catching people when they're off guard.
Mm-hmm. Second look at this. Did you fear, by the way, as we take another look at this, that he could hurt you at all? It didn't look like you were very concerned about his ability to hurt you when you came inside.
No, I wasn't scared at all. I said, you know, I trained hard for this fight, and I know my chin can stand up against the toughest. And you know, I was very much prepared, and I wasn't taking the man for granted or lightly.
Go ahead.
You know, I had to stay on my P's and Q's and do what I do best.
All right, talk about the cruiserweight division now. You want another shot at Mr. Cole? You want a shot at Wamba? What are you going to do here in the cruiserweight division from here on out?
It's all up to Mr. King. You know, I'll fight anybody. I'm not afraid of nobody. And, you know, when the opportunity presents itself, I'll be ready and able, and, you know, we go from there.
A gentleman every time until he steps in the ring, Nate Mr. Miller, winning this one by TKO. Let's go upstairs to James Brown. JB?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. And Nate Miller said that if he was on his game plan, that he would, in fact, win this one in 3 rounds. Clearly, he was 6 rounds longer than that he planned. And, you know, one trait of Nate Miller is that both as a person and as a boxer is that he is simply too nice. Wasn't as aggressive as he could have been. And as such, he let the Laspada challenger hang around just a little too long. That's a gamble that you don't want to take as a fighter indeed. But the bottom line is that he was successful in defending his title. All right, still to come tonight.